What's going on, everybody? On our recent trip to Asia, we stopped by a little place you may have heard of, Hong Kong.
So last year we shot a music video called The Hong Kong Food Song, but this time around we wanted to do something different and explain more about the city itself because it's really interesting.
We shot a video explaining the two different sides of Hong Kong, Kowloon versus Hong Kong Island.
It's kind of like Oakland to San Francisco or Brooklyn to Manhattan.
But
due to technical difficulties, we actually lost half of the footage that we filmed, so this video is just focusing on one part of Hong Kong Island called SHEUNG.
By the way, the video starts off on a Hong Kong meet and greet in Causeway Bay.
Hello! Thank you for coming to Hong Kong! Yay! I love you, Fung Bros!
We're in the famous Sogo shopping district right now in Hong Kong Island.
Hong Kong doesn't have a huge art scene or creative scene because it's so much driven by corporate consumerism.
That's probably true, like the creative class in Hong Kong, they make up like a smaller portion of like the whole economy, but it's still like a surviving scene going on right now.
It's not LA, it's not New York. It's up and coming, it's growing, grassroots stuff happening. There are lots of galleries.
How do local Hong Kong people say bye to each other?
Bye-bye! We're in SHEUNG, Hong Kong, which is on the Hong Kong Island side. We are joined by
Me and Samantha.
Hong Kong girls from Kowloon and New Territories.
SHEUNG, specifically this part of SHEUNG, is the thing that really differentiates the Hong Kong Island side of Hong Kong from the Kowloon side.
It's kind of like the Soho of Manhattan, but here it's very westernized.
Well, I guess colonization never left.
Got those big dogs. That's very western.
You see dogs, you would think of probably dog meat, you know?
Oh,
you know, we Chinese people,
that's
right?
not true. They don't eat it in Hong Kong.
Clearly, Timothy Alton of the Englishmen, we've conquered Hong Kong. It's a colony, but I believe we have to hand it back to the Chinese in '97. But until then, it's going to be quite a good time.
Something about this street is that it kind of feels like Europe, maybe like France or Italy. It is a shopping district, but the main difference is that I feel like I don't see a lot of mainland Chinese here, as opposed to in TST by all the luxury shops. There's a lot of rich Chinese people shopping there, but here it's definitely more foreigners, as in Europeans.
Hong Kong has a gigantic film industry.
In SHEUNG, you can find a very Western set. You can't really find this kind of spot in Kowloon.
Because Hong Kong is such an international finance hub, and there's actually so few of them around the world,
You get a whole lot of Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street type people.
there are some good things that come along with that and some bad things.
Because there's so many of them and they have so much money, you have to build businesses that cater to them.
There's actually a lot of bars out here in SHEUNG in Central where you couldn't find a single Chinese person, not even the bartenders.
We ran into a fan here in Hong Kong, and he was telling me that he works at a financial institution out here in Hong Kong. He's from America. Everybody at his workplace is either American, Australian, or British, and he's actually the only Asian guy at his company in Hong Kong, and he said he still got a bunch of Asian jokes. I was like, man, you still getting Asian jokes at your job in Hong Kong, but it's because it's in finance. You're from Canada, and now you work in the gigantic financial industry in Hong Kong. What can you tell us?
Definitely Wolf on Wall Street. That's the reason why I moved here in Hong Kong.
Holy folk, fair to say that Kowloon is the Brooklyn, Hong Kong Island's Manhattan.
Flushing or something?
Okay.
That's like a real hood.
Kowloon is Flushing, Hong Kong Island is Manhattan. What's the difference between Hong Kong Island and Kowloon side?
Chinese food in Kowloon, it's cheaper and more authentic and chic. That's where it's at. There's a lot of great restaurants here as well, but like...
Not as Chinese, right?
It's not as Chinese. Real Hong Kong is on the Kowloon side.
Oh, you used to cook Western food.
All my life, I'm, this Taiwanese Canadian chef cooking Western food. Why am I cooking, the Guaylu food all my life when all I want to eat is Chinese food?
Definitely check out my man Zhao, check out my man Bao's at Holy Funk. It just opened crazy. How do you feel about all these westernized Asians who are coming back and doing these cool fusion restaurants?
For us, we don't have like a real identity. We're not like really Chinese. We're not like really Western fusion kind of thing. That would be like what fits me the most.
Bringing different cultures to Hong Kong, it makes us more international.
Hong Kong is very open-minded. They can make us very strong.
Future, as the local guy, what do you think?
係香港嘅獨特嘅文化，即係將中西合埋一齊，係冇其他地方冇。
經常係咁樣嘅，東方嘅文化、西方嘅文化一齊 mix.
What's the difference between Kowloon side and Hong Kong Island?
One's a whole, as in like it's just mayhem, chaos, busy, rubbish, dirty, raw. The other side is just expats.
We've got our Cantonese rapper friend, born and raised in Kowloon, He's gonna drop some bars for us.
怪就怪你太乖，做乜都有晒街拉，尺到咁低，你繼續要往過咁細，定係咁作咁為
Shut it down.
We are in the middle of like SHEUNG pretty much, and this is like where all the foreigners are. What do you think about this area?
Soho have many foreigners in there. They have fun, dance both, and they drink and give Hong Kong people so much fun.
I don't feel comfortable in here. Everyone is speaking English.
I really see both sides of it. Majority of things here are a fusion, but if you had to weigh the fusion on which side it was more heavily weighed on, it's definitely more toward the Western end.
This is part of Hong Kong identity. This is like part of the history, and this is how Hong Kong came to where it's at right now. So if you like the MTR, if you like the tall buildings, if you like all the luxury brands, you have to attribute it to stuff like this, and this is all part of the package. Two sides, one city.
Hong Kong basically in general has a huge identity crisis. Like we don't want to be westernized, but at the same time we don't want to be like very Chinese.
Such a tough balance to maintain because you can't get all the pros from this side and all the pros from this side. Usually those are package deals. Difference between KOWLOON side and Hong Kong side.
The Hong Kong side, you get a lot more international people. Because Soho's always been a spot for like expats to go to, but it generally has been like an older crowd, like crowd with money in. But now kids are starting to come, you know, people in their 20s.
It's way more international than any other spot in like America. So many more influences put in such a dense spot here that you get a lot of like Westernized Asian fusion, you get Americanized Asian fusion, you got French, you got Chinese, you got Belgium. It's like, this doesn't even exist in America.
Is it fair to call this the Soho new hipster wave of restaurant?
Pretty much the right way to put it. This new thing, it's almost like a youth movement of sorts.
Ooh, I'm thankful for the youth movement because I remember coming here a few years ago and I didn't find anything that I liked. Soho youth movement. So Check-in Taipei is probably the only bar in the entire world that does this drink.
Right now, this doesn't even look like a drink.
Check-in Taipei is not only coming up with new Taiwanese fusion drinks, but it's kind of representing Taiwanese culture in Hong Kong.
We want to make some Eastern culture and Taiwanese culture into the Hong Kong Soho.
People are getting drunk off tofu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hong Kong is mixed with Eastern and Western culture. Hong Kong Island side is a financial place. The KOWLOON side is old Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, a mix between East and West. I used to come to Hong Kong as a kid, but it never really, maybe it's because I'm older, maybe it's because the shops changed and the culture changed. I'm sure it's a combination of all those things, but now I really feel like I can connect with Hong Kong way better than I used to be able to.
Galaxy, why is Choi Hwa so famous and why does everybody gotta come here?
The most famous Hong Kong cafe chain. It is open for 24 hours.
As we're starting to dig in, what are the final takeaways from our trip?
The Hong Kong side is heavily much more the financial, international, foreign district, has businesses catered toward only English speakers. KOWLOON, a lot of people say, is the old Hong Kong, AKA maybe the real Hong Kong.
I don't see a difference, and I don't see a reason to have a difference between the two because Hong Kong itself is so small already. Why do you want to separate like two different sides?
What I do understand too is that there are people on both sides, both the KOWLOON and the Hong Kong side, that pretty much exclusively live their entire lives on this side or that side.
I understand why people stay in their bubbles and they stay on either side. Both sides to me are a little bit different and they have different things.
I love Hong Kong. Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody for watching that video. I hope you liked it. I hope you guys learned something. I know that was only half the footage, so unfortunately it didn't tell the whole story, but you know, hopefully you learned something. So watch this video right here. This is the Hong Kong food song that we made last year, and then watch this video right here. This is things to do on a plane, and we also shot this on our way to Asia. We got a lot more Asia videos coming out, like in Taiwan and Singapore, and you know, we plan on going to other Asian countries, don't worry, but we're just waiting for the right time. So subscribe to our channel. If you guys want Boba Life shirts, check out fungbrothers.com or gummymall.com/fungbros. Boba Life, Hong Kong, Hong Kong, like 中意食 dim sum, 我中意食 dim sum, ho. So I'm pretty bad at speaking Cantonese, but here are some New Year's phrases in Cantonese. Sun Nian Fai Lok means Happy New Year, and Sun Tai Gin Hong means good health. So say that to your Cantonese friends. Happy New Year 2015!